Chicago, where the fire serve cold, but the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Rock and Big Z.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 8 of TCSF Podcast. As always, I am Big Z and I'm here with my co-host E-Rock. What up, E-Rock?
What's going on, Z? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm all right, man. Let me ask you something real quick.
Sure.
We know you're a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing with the remote learning to start the season?
This year's going to be very challenging. I think especially for myself who teaches PE. It's going to be very challenging on what the expectations are going to be for me and for my students, and then delivering that to them, and something that's going to benefit them not only today and tomorrow. And then we're changing a lot of platforms at work, at school, and how do we communicate with each other. Now everything's going to be Zoom, and the way we upload our stuff, our information that goes out to the administration, we got a new system in there too, so it's a lot of learning on our part and short amount of time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, my daughter's doing the same thing. You know, it's like watching her go to work and working from home and doing Zoom calls all the time. So, you know, she's bringing home the whiteboard to do her math homework and stuff like that. And that stuff is all paper, but lessons online, science, art, math, English, all that stuff is online. Her teacher called her out today because I brought her some breakfast on my day off. And she turned around to grab her bowl, and the teacher was like, "Hey, look over here. Where are you going?" So,
Whoops!
I was like, "Oh, sorry for feeding my child during school. I'm sorry."
You're one of those. All right, so what do we got going on today?
All right, so our guest today is going to be Jessica McCaskill. She's the new Undisputed Welterweight Champion of the world. McCaskill edged Cecilia Brækhus via majority decision, become the champ. And on our overtime segment, we're going to be talking to Mike Logic from the All Net podcast. He'll break down the NBA playoffs, give us his prediction on who the next head coach of the Bulls will be. We're also going to talk about Bears and who we think will win the QB battle, and if they need some more running back help with the news that we heard today.
Yeah, they're going to need a lot of help now.
Yeah. So, but first up, 3 up and 3 down.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
We're going to start off with my beloved White Sox.
Uh-oh.
Hey, brother. How was that series that happened the past weekend?
What are you talking about?
That spanking y'all got.
Hey, hold up. Look, the first game was a spanking.
Yes, sir.
Now, Lester does this at least once or twice in a regular season every year where he just implodes first inning is gone. So you guys got that game.
All good pitchers go through that. Giolito went through that.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, hats off to you. Home run derby, good for y'all.
Yep.
The second game was close until the end. And
that was a good game.
That was a good game until the end, and then, you know, the bullpen imploded, and that's just what happens. And the third game we won, and that was a tight game, and that was because Darvish went out there and did his thing, and it was a tight game. So aside from the first game, the last two were tight. I mean, it's just what it is when you got two good teams.
Right. It was a great series. We got bragging rights for a couple of weeks until we play again at the end of the season.
At the very end of the season. That's gonna determine the entire season.
I think so. I think it's going to be do or die for both of us. All right, let's start off with the up for the White Sox. Let's start off with great news. Our boy, Lucas Giolito, gets a no-hitter, almost a perfect game.
Almost.
He had one walk.
Yeah.
And, man, I was on the edge of my seat. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to pick up my phone. I barely text you just to give you that last out.
Right at the end.
Yeah, that was like, okay, he needs to watch this.
Be like, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a great outing by Giolito, and it shows that he's got the ace stuff to continue on here for a long time.
And that was some key defense. I mean, especially even that last out. I was like, that is a hit.
Oh, my God. I think, was it
Adam Engel?
Yeah, that one. And then there was another play, I think it was by Anderson, where he scooped it up, and he throws a cannonball to Abreu, and he just picks it out of the dirt, and it got him just in the nick of time. I mean, that was a beautiful play. I mean, the defense was spectacular behind him, and he was just amazing that game.
Yeah, the Anderson throw was a straight laser, so... You know, behind every no-hitter, perfect game, everything like that, you always have some fantastic defense. I mean, I think we saw it in the Mark Burley game when he threw his He had a perfect game straight up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is
That's why you have the catch written on the outfield.
Right. So you have to have great defense behind every perfect game. That's
and
just
it
what
always
it is.
comes down to that last out to make it super dramatic,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. That's gonna make you clench your butt a little bit. But okay.
All right, number two. Again, this is going back to what I was talking about last podcast, and it's with the G Lido ERA with McCann versus Grandal. So prior to the no-hitter, G Lido had a ERA of 1.4 with McCann in 2 starts, and then with the other 4 starts, he had a 4.5 ERA with Grandal. So I've been saying it. Guys need to stick with those guys, especially pitchers, with the guys that they have a relationship with, especially the catchers who know them inside and out. And sometimes you're going to need a personal catcher for your aces. I mean, it happened with Lester, and he brought Rossi over. And when those 2 guys were together, they had magic.
Sometimes you just click with your catcher. I mean, as a pitchers, here's the thing. Baseball players are weird people. They're very habitual. They have their certain way of doing things, and especially with pitchers that have that kind of stuff where they could be an ace. We're not talking about like Tyler Chatwood, who just has like kind of that crazy, like, hey, let's see what happens where, you're going to give your catcher a workout. We're talking about guys that have that potential to be an ace, to basically do, have a perfect game almost every game if they're really on point. But sometimes you get that juju, you get that mojo, and you guys click on a different level, and then you show up with a game like that. So, hats off to them.
I think the coach is actually listening to our podcast because I discussed that last time.
Yeah, you did.
Then my next point is something that is changed as well. I talked about run differential when we were negative 11 at that point.
Right.
And now we're leading the league in home runs, and our plus differential is over 30-something or 40-something at this point. I didn't check with today's game because they scored 10 more runs today. So if you need to win games, you got to score runs now. These White Sox players are hitting bombs. Can you sustain that throughout the whole season? No. You gotta manufacture runs, and they did a little bit of that today, where they drove some runs in by having men on base and getting a pop fly to score some runs and so forth. And you gotta have a combination of both. Now Abreu's on a tear this year. He's leading the league in home runs. I don't know if Mike Trout hit a home run today, but they were tied for 12th. And this is gonna continue on. Abreu's that player that will get hot. And when he's not hot, he's still hitting doubles.
And he just won the AL Player of the Week, too.
That's right.
You know what I mean? He had something, I think it was 7 home runs and 15 RBIs. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, granted, he did get the bad Lester, and he had that home run derby all weekend against the Cubs. But, I mean, hey, you play the games that are in front of you. You can't do any other different.
Right. He doesn't choose the pitchers that are coming up to pitch against them. So.
No.
All right, the downs. I think I talked about this the other day, too. Encarnacion. He's actually been hitting a little bit more. I think he hit a home run today and a couple home runs the last couple of days before that. But the DH spot is not producing what it should be producing.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not getting as many hits. It's either feast or famine. And Encarnacion is a very, very streaky hitter.
Right.
And then everyone else that they put in a DH spot is batting under 200. That's not going to do it for you.
No, it's not, especially in the AL where every team already has their DH. They know who their DH is coming into the season. It's not like the NL this year where they're trying to figure it out, who they're going to slip in. The Cubs trying different guys in there. But, I mean, like in the AL, your big bopper is going to be, typically you got an older guy. You can bring him, you can throw him in there on the DH spot. And if they're not producing in the one spot that is just a purely offensive spot, you're going to have a problem.
All right, let's finish this up. I got Moncada's legs for my issue number 2. He was running down to first base, and he pulled his hammy a little bit, he tweaked it. Oh, no. And then he was out for the Cubs, was it home opener, right?
I think so.
The Cubs Sox opener.
Yeah.
He was out that game. So they're like, we're going to rest him. This young kid, why is he having so many hamstring injuries? I
mean, you never know because we were talking to someone before about sometimes you get these young players where they get this weird injury and it kind of stops their career for a little bit, and you kind of wonder, is he Derrick Rose or is he someone that can overcome that and we don't want a Penny Hardaway. We don't want a Derrick Rose. We want Steph Curry, who had, ankle injuries or leg, whatever. I think it was ankles, and he was able to overcome it. And look where he's at now. You know what I mean? He still looks like he's maybe 22 years old, and he's got to be at least, I don't know, what is he, 30 or something like that. And he's still one of the best players in the league, and he's won a bunch of championships. And since then.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you know, Moncada can overcome this and become the player that we know he can be.
Yeah, hopefully he can take care of this issue and maybe adjust his warming up.
Yeah.
Adjust his workouts to
Get on his stretching. Yeah.
Get more stretching and strengthen the muscles around the hamstring to help him out. Last point, Keiko. Today he pitched pretty good. He pitched about 6 innings, gave up 4 hits and 2 runs. The only issue I had is that last game, I think it was against the Cubs, he had 8 innings, 114 pitches, and they had a large lead. Why is your ace out there with such a large lead? I know you're trying to save your bullpen, but our bullpen's been pretty safe because we've been slugging against everybody. So,
but who's that on?
That's Renteria.
That's Ricky.
I'm sorry.
Ricky Raccoon. What are you doing, bro?
No, man. You pull him out in the 7th. I mean, even today's game, he was out there 1 inning too long.
Is Ricky going to be the manager next year?
I think he will be because I don't think they're going to evaluate him on a shortened season.
Yeah, he's going to get the COVID excuse. The COVID pass, like they say.
Yeah, he's going to get the pass this year. You know, this is a different year. Everybody's going to get in. We wouldn't know that. If they didn't change these rules where all these teams were going to get in, and the White Sox didn't make it, I think that would be a different adjustment that the front office would make. But I still think he gets another year and to see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I think what's going to happen is that they'll give him the extra year, and then you're going to get, you know, some guy in here. You might get, isn't AJ Hinch available once he got cut loose from the Astros? You know what I mean? Like, think about a guy like that.
Cora.
I mean, Cora was the orchestrator of the whole thing, but AJ Hinch seems like a good guy. I mean, he took a young team who had a lot of potential and brought them up, and they won the World Series. So, I mean, let's see, is it? And I've heard his name linked to the Sox before. You know, he has to take his suspension, and then they got Dusty down there, and the Astros, and they're doing terrible because he's just old, man. He was chilling, you know, with the toothpick and the beer belly and all that stuff. He didn't even want to, you know, they just like, hey, Dusty, man, please do me a solid. I need somebody. So that's what happened in there.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sitting down collecting my Social Security. Like, leave me alone. But they pulled him out of retirement.
What about? I did notice they brought one player back.
Oh yes, they did.
Yeah,
Yomer Gatorade Showers Sanchez is back. He signed a minor league deal with the White Sox. He's a great clubhouse guy. He fits into the atmosphere that they have going on there. I think he'll be just a good shoe-in to what they're doing there. He does more small ball stuff. He will bunt and get infield hits. His defense is not that great, but right now our second baseman is out, so he can fill in there or he can fill in the outfield. And
he's one of those guys that was around when they were really bad. So I mean, it's kind of good to see him come back when they're starting to pick it up.
Yeah, and I think once they released him from the Giants, and then he signed with the Mets, I believe.
I think so.
And then they released him. I'm pretty sure the guys in the clubhouse were like, "Can we have Yomer back?"
Yeah, they probably asked for him. They're like, "Hey, yo, my boy's out there, bring him in."
Yeah. All right. What do you got for the Cubs?
So my up, I have to look for ups at this point because in the past week or so it's been kind of depressing. But guess what? I got a guy on my squad. His last name is Darvish, and his first name begins with only 2 letters, and that's Cy. That's Cy Darvish.
Oh boy,
my boy Cy Darvish. He's so far the front runner for the Cy Young Award in the NL. I know I previously said that that Hendricks, I almost said Jimi Hendrix. But I said before that Hendricks is the ace based on his first start of the year. But I mean, so far, Darvish has been phenomenal. Darvish is actually, playing up to his contract right now. And I really honestly think that the whole thing with the Astros coming to light has brought him back.
Yeah, I think his confidence is back. I think he's like, hey, this is the real me. This is what I can do. This is what I can bring to a team. I'm telling you so that they cheated. This is I told you so.
And he did.
Yeah.
And he went out there and he was like, they had to have known what I was doing. So seeing him basically come back out and his confidence rise because he was like, it's almost like a little kid. Like little kids, you don't listen to kids, right? The kids say something, you're like, dude, Billy, stop. Like you're just making up stories.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you look outside and that wolf is really there. But like, damn, Billy wasn't crying wolf. So, I mean,
go get the shotgun.
My boy, Cy Darvish, he wasn't crying wolf, okay?
No, and he's been dealing.
Yeah. He's by far, right now he's 100% the ace. Number 2, I got Javi. I mean, he started to look decent. He was slumping, man. I mean, he's one of these guys that you go when Javi goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He came out of that slump. The first game against Detroit, he hit a nice shot. He got a 2-run home run.
He had two home runs in that first game against Detroit. You know what I mean? So it seems like he's finally coming out of it. You know, hopefully this is the kickstart that he needs to kind of get through the season and be the star that we know he can be.
Well, hopefully the Cubs get on the roll. You know, when we played the Tigers, we got on the roll. So we're expecting the Cubs can do the same. Maybe.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, look. I'm looking for positives here. You know what I mean? They won the first game against Detroit and they lost the last two, including today.
Okay.
Which is terrible. You know what I mean? You can't lose the bad teams. You have to at least beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, and then see what you can do against the other good teams. I mean, that's just what good teams are supposed to do. So if you're not doing your job, you know. But hey, I'm looking for the positives now.
Okay.
I'll give you one more. They didn't get swept.
You got the stretch for that one.
No, because the fact of the matter is that could slide you all the way down in the season. Darvish came out and says, look, guys, I got you. You know what I mean? I'll stretch on Darvish from my first point. I got you. He picked them up. They had a great game.
He plugged the boat that was sinking.
Yeah, for now. For now, you know. But, I mean, it sounds silly, but, you know, getting swept against your crosstown rivals could hurt the team morale for the rest of the season, especially in this short season. You can't let this stuff linger. And in baseball, there's just, okay, hey, it's always the next day. Yeah, I already forgot yesterday. But, you know, you can say that all you want, but it doesn't make it all the way true.
What do you got for downs?
I mean, with all that being said, they almost got swept. You know, Reynaldo Lopez, who, tell me about Reynaldo. Is he any good?
Not this year, not last year.
Okay. So he just comes off the injured list, and he hasn't been pitching great before that. And they couldn't take advantage of that, even with their ace that I called him the ace. They couldn't take care of business with him on the mound.
Lopez had an ERA of 54.00 coming into that game.
So I mean, I don't know if it's that juice from playing the Cubs or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like the juice of watching that home run derby that the Cubs or the Sox had the night before against the Sox. But I mean, come on, man. You got to take advantage of a guy like that.
What I have seen from the Sox, and I don't want to get you away from your Cub points, is that the White Sox pitchers are talking to each other. So you'll have Keuchel talking to Giolito, and then Lopez, when he finished his start, he went straight to Giolito and said, hey, what did you see?
Right.
What was I doing right? What was I doing wrong? And that is going to strengthen your bullpen and your starting pitching.
Well, that's what teams are supposed to do.
Yeah, but some guys don't get along with each other, and they won't do that.
But that's defeating the purpose of being on a team. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even find the words for something as stupid as that. You know, when I coach softball, I tell the girls, I says, look, you ain't got to all be friends. When we're out here, you're a team. We work together. We support each other. And when we leave, you don't have to ever talk to each other ever again. You don't have to talk to each other outside of the game, outside of practice. But when we're here, we're a family, we're a team, and that's how it works. Okay. And lastly, Chris Bryant, man, like this was one of my bads last week too. I mean, he's still not playing.
Yeah, he has a hand injury, hand and wrist.
He's like a wrist injury. You know what I mean? Like, and this is sad. I mean, I'm hoping to be able to see the guy play and play well this season. You know, I really do like KB, and he was our guy. But you know, he's on his way out. We don't expect him to come back. You know, just because they're not going to be able to sign him, and you know, he's playing like crap beforehand, and now. You know, he's sitting there, he got hurt, and now he's not even out there. You know, I really hope this is an actual injury and not him just, you know, silently protesting or however you want to say it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm not going to play this year. But the thing is that if you don't play this year, it's not beneficial to you. It's not beneficial to us.
His value is going to go down. And the thing is, right now with the Cubs, if he was playing well, he could have became a trade chip. To launch you into getting maybe another starting pitcher.
Correct.
Because Bodie plays pretty good third base.
And so Javi.
Yeah. And Javi can play third base. He's got the arm for it. But I just think him not playing is hurting the Cubs a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. So we were going to take a pause for the cause at the moment.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
The True Chicago Sports Fans podcast with E-Rock and Big Z will return after a brief word from our sponsor.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back. This is the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. So, what's going on with our Bears? Let's find out. We have a new segment called 3 and Out. We'll discuss 3 topics on the Bears. Let's get into it, E.
This happened today. David Montgomery got carted off the field. Bears said it's a groin injury. Okay. You ever had a groin?
Yep, I still have a groin.
Yeah, I do too. But have you ever had a groin injury?
Yeah, I've had a groin injury. Those things linger for a very long time.
Especially for a running back who has to cut and slide and things like that, and who won't have any preseason to try to work that out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is my question. Should they sign another running back to try to roll through with Cohen, Ryan Nall, and the experiment of Cordell Patterson?
Yes, you need a veteran.
You know, over, I think the last week or so, or no, I think it was last month, they brought in former Notre Dame running back C.J. Procise, but they did not sign him. Spencer Ware is also available, and he knows Nagy's offense.
Yeah, but he's got like 68 snaps, 68 rushes in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to be a viable source.
So who's my guy that I've been asking for a while?
Devontae
Freeman.
Freeman.
Dude, what is going on here? How is a guy like that still out on the street?
I think a lot of it is that he's only averaging 3.6 yards per carry for the last 2 years.
Okay, and that's fine.
Which is better what the Bears are doing.
That's exactly right. And he's a beast. He's a strong guy.
He can catch.
And that's right. And the only reason he's not on the team right now, the only reason he's not on the Falcons right now is because they brought in Todd Gurley after the Rams released him, which is insane to me.
How does it? Yeah, the rich get richer.
Well, I just don't get it. I mean, like, you know, I know that Gurley went to Georgia, so like that maybe it was their guy or whatever it is. But I mean, the Bears need to do something. You cannot go into the season with Ryan Nall. And when I had to look up his name because I'm like, yeah, you know that other guy they had, and I was like, I didn't even know how to spell his name. I don't know if it was, you know, Brian Nails. I didn't know what this guy. I couldn't remember his name.
Like Nails.
Yeah, it does look like Nails. And we know that Tariq Cohen is way too small to be a starter. We know that. We saw that last year.
He's a gadget guy.
David Montgomery to do the things that we drafted him to do. And then they got Patterson, who is a gadget guy again. You know what I mean? He's a guy that you can do those end arounds and things like that. He's great on special teams. He can't be a receiver. I saw people over the summer, over the summer talking about, well, make him a tight end. Are you insane? This guy can't catch. He can't catch. There's no if they could have made him a tight end,
they would have.
Minnesota would have made him a tight end. He would have never made it out of Minnesota, and he would have never made it to England, and he would have never made it here.
Right, because Minnesota had 2 tight ends,
Correct.
2 big tight ends.
Correct.
That they could have counted on. Right.
All right. So what's next?
Let's see. Old man Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
So he's been a standout in camp so far, from what I'm hearing from the Bears reports. So, based on the signings and the draft, we should see an improvement at the tight end position. I mean, you got old man Jimmy Graham acting as a player coach.
I guess we got the rookie, my boy.
Yeah, Cole Kmet.
Yep.
Hopefully he's going to be a stud. I mean, fingers crossed, toenails crossed. I mean, if I can cross my legs and everything else, I'd cross it because this kid needs to be good for us. He needs to be that face.
And he's a hometown kid, so you always root for a guy like that.
But Jimmy Graham had Aaron freaking Rodgers throwing to him, and he still sucked last year. So.
Yeah, so I mean, like you had Aaron Rodgers, and now you're going to.
Oh, he was in Seattle too. He had
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson.
So now you busted out in 2 other cities that were not New Orleans.
With good quarterback.
With very good quarterbacks,
MVP,
top
MVP.
10. Correct. And now you come to a place where you have Trubisky and you have Foles. Where's that one? I need that womp womp soundtrack.
I was waiting for the crickets. I was listening for the crickets.
So, I mean, that's going to be a problem. So I'll give you number 3 here. Who's going to be the quarterback?
It's going to be Trubisky.
It has to be.
They didn't re-sign him for his last his 5th year.
Yeah, he didn't get his 5th year option.
And they brought a guy who is stellar as coming in as a backup.
Right.
That's his bread and butter. Anytime he's been a starter, he's been a failure in 2 different cities. He's coming to his 3rd team here and 4th team.
Well, you're talking about Foles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because Foles went to Philly, then he went to the Rams, then he went to
Kansas City
Chiefs, I want to say. Then he was on the Jags. He got hurt in Jacksonville, and then they brought in the mustache Gardner Minshew, mustache mania, Minshew mania. Yeah. This weird little creepy, 1980s Tom Selleck looking dude, and
good reference,
right? You know what I mean? So, like, I wish my mustache looked like that. But listen, we're only a couple weeks away from the opener on September 13th, and we still don't know who it's going to be. And that's because, number one, we don't have any preseason. But I think it's got to be Trubisky because it has to be. Pace drafted him. You got to at least give him 4 games and see if he can pull himself up and figure it out. You know, the thing is that if you start Foles to start the season, you know, you can basically kiss Mitch Trubisky goodbye. You're basically telling him, you know, that it's just over for you in Chicago. You know, the kid's psyche is too fragile to sit on the bench and then try to come in later as a backup. If Foles is named the starter, you know what I mean? Like if Foles gets hurt and then you go to Trubisky already knows that he wasn't your first pick anyway. You know, he's fragile. He says, hey, turn those TV off. So I don't want those TVs off in the in Hallis Hall or whatever it was. I don't want to see that. I want to hear the criticism. You know what I mean? Like you can take that however you want, because I've heard a lot of different viewpoints on that. But I mean, we know he's fragile. You know, the thing is that you know his teammates are like, oh, he's the hardest working guy. He's the first in. He's the last out. You know, I mean, like he has the intangibles.
There's tons
I guess.
of NFL players. You'll watch. What is that? Hard Knocks. You watch Hard Knocks. These kids, they get drafted or are undrafted. You know. They're at the end of the draft. They're trying to make a name for themselves, trying to get a spot on a roster. Yeah, they're going to be the first ones in, the last ones out, because they got to work their butt off.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're going to be on the team.
And it doesn't translate to success on the field.
No, it doesn't.
And at least it didn't last year. You know, if they can get him some of those option plays where he rolls out and he has some success like he did in 2018, then maybe they can be successful. But the thing with him is I don't think he'll ever be a good pocket passer, and that's what they really tried to do with him last year.
And that hindered him because his greatest asset is his
rolling
legs.
out. Yes,
it's his legs. When he's on the move and he can throw the ball, he's pretty good. I mean, he does miss a lot, but his biggest asset is going to be his legs. And if you don't allow him to roll out, you don't allow him to scramble and make a play, you're
taking away his best asset. You know, and that's the thing is that, you know, I don't think like I said, I don't think he'll ever be a good pocket passer, and he gets into his own head. You know, I think he psychs himself out. He thinks long and he thinks wrong. You know, and that's always going to be an issue. You know, if he can work on instinct and just go out there and do this thing, yeah, but we really just need a guy who won't make stupid mistakes. You know, that's the thing. He says, if Trubisky can do that, then we don't need some crazy exotic offense. You know, let the defense go out there and eat these quarterbacks for lunch and just go out there and get some damn punts. That's all we need. Get some points.
All right. So I agree with you, what you're saying. But here's my thought on the Bears. You drafted this kid that no one really wanted.
I mean, he had a lot of interest. I mean, you're looking at a draft. There's still talk about Watson, who had a knee injury.
That's the only reason he wasn't taken. It's because of that one knee injury, and then in his rookie year, he blew out the other knee.
The other knee.
Okay, you can't predict that.
No. And so there's your concern there.
Right.
Okay. No one in their right minds. If anyone tells you they're like, I knew Mahomes was going to be that good, they are lying to you. They're lying through their teeth. They're lying. You know, that's
like saying, I knew Tom Brady is going to be the best quarterback of all time.
Yeah, at 199. He drafted at 199. Exactly. No shot. This skinny little kid. No way.
No one knew that. But at the same time, this is a kid that was not proven in college football. That's where you got to look at the tape. And if this kid doesn't have that much tape on him, he hasn't proven that he can take a team to a to a bowl game year after year and be a leader. Guess what? I'm not drafting you. So I'm gonna put this on on
Ryan Pace.
Ryan Pace, thank you. Because this is his administration. He made these picks. He picked this kid. He's got to ride or die with them. Yeah. And the problem is that we had about 3 or 4 quarterbacks that are a lot better than the 2 quarterbacks we got right now. And they were available.
This is what's going to happen is that if the Bears have a terrible season and they ended up with a high pick, you got quarterbacks out there that's going to be available. Okay, I like Justin Fields from Ohio State. I was a fan of his. I watched him on, I think it was a show called QB1 on Netflix, which was awesome because it showed him in the end of his high school career going into college and what colleges he was going to go to. I think he originally picked Georgia because he was from Georgia, and then he kind of bounced around because he couldn't really start. But here's the problem.
Okay.
Right now, all of college football is in limbo.
Yep.
Justin Fields plays for Ohio State, so that means he's not going to play. Okay. How are you supposed to evaluate these guys based on their junior year or their sophomore year? You're looking at old tape?
Yeah, but even then.
Because you think about how many of these guys shoot up the draft board based on like something they did in college or a random bowl game where no one ever heard of this guy. You know what I mean? It's like the North Carolina State Fairgrounds, blah, 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 pig farmer, Sundance Bowl. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to evaluate talent at this point, especially with the combine going to be. I mean, are we going to have a combine? It's going to be a virtual combine. I mean, And still, how do you evaluate that? Especially with, with sports, a lot of it is, you look at the skills, you look at their attributes, and then you kind of do that gut feeling of, okay, this kid's going to be pretty good. So, I don't know. They should have went after one of these top 3 quarterbacks that were out there in that free agency class. I thought it would have been a better option at that point. Even if you would have got the kid from Tampa who threw 15.
Jameis Winston?
Yeah.
Pass.
I'll take him.
No, because like I said before, you just need a guy who will not mess up. And you know who will mess up? Jameis Winston every time. He was the only member of all time of the 30-30 Club, and that's 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. No thanks, dude. I'm sorry.
I'll take a gunslinger.
No, because when you look at how good this defense is, you got Quinn, you got Mack, you lost Goldman he opted out. You got all these great players on defense, Eddie Jackson, Kyle Fuller, all these guys. Just don't mess up. Do not give me a guy who's out there slinging the pillow over the place and be like, hey, who wants it? Who wants it? This is not a game of keep away. We're not just giving the ball to whoever catches it first and then trying to keep away from the rest. That's not how this works. I mean, I guess
so.
You're
gonna call Kyle Orton back?
Oh, bro, I'm not calling Kyle, bro. He don't take my calls no more after I dissed him in the club. That's why he don't take my calls no more.
All right, guys, we're going to take a pause for the calls. When we come back, we're going to have our guest, Jessica McCaskill, the new Undisputed Welterweight Champion of the world. She's going to join us, and we're going to talk some boxing, some Chicago boxing. What up, everybody? Welcome back from our break. Today's guest is Jessica McCaskill, the new Undisputed Welterweight Champion of the world. McCaskill edged Cecilia Bracas via majority decision to become the champ. And her pretty good trainer, a very friendly guy.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Her trainer, Rick Ramos, was the Ring Magazine 2019 Female Coach of the Year. And if I had a vote, he'd be the Coach of the Year again this year with what Jessica has accomplished this year. Yeah. All right. Jessica, welcome to the show and congratulations.
Thank you so much. I would also vote for Rick on that.
You put 4 votes, 5 votes, stuff the ballot box.
Yeah.
All right. So first things first, how heavy are those belts now?
I've been carrying 2 around because I'm unified at 140. So I definitely had a good idea about, how they would feel. And then, of course, you've thought about that moment of holding all the belts up at the same time. So you don't even feel it. You just hold it. You pose for the picture. If they would have had me holding them for an hour straight, I probably would have done it no problem.
They would have felt weightless.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you had more weight going up the hill than being on top of the hill.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I'm going to play something for you. And after I play it, I want you to give me your honest reaction.
Okay.
Start the ring. After 10 rounds of action, we now go to the judges' scorecard. Here are the totals. Judge Karen Holderfield has about even, 95-95. Judge David Sutherland sees about 97-93. And Judge Gerald Ritter sees about 97-94. For your winner by majority decision. And new reigning welterweight champion of the world, Jessica CasKILLA McCaskill.
Incredible.
So tell us.
It's still gut-wrenching. Like, it makes my chest tight. Like, that pause seemed like it was 20 seconds long when I was in the ring. I just kept telling myself, and new. Oh, it's like, that just gives me, like, it just makes my body tense having to, like, it was the longest, like, score announcement ever, it feels like.
Yeah. You got to build that drama,
Man, so much drama. Well worth it.
So,
So no, I know our listeners can't see your reaction to the video, but she was serious. And then when she heard it again, she had a smile that went from ear to ear. Oh my God.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. How long do you, or how well do you know your opponent Cecilia? Because she seemed like she was very happy for you.
I don't know her. I met her in 2017. It was just kind of like a very brief meeting. I went to Vegas after the Katie Taylor fight, little vacation for myself, and Rick was in Chicago, but he was still doing his managerial job. He was like, hey, so-and-so is in this row, in this aisle, go say hi, take a picture, introduce yourself. And so he was very much helping me network while I was there. So still, working. So he had me meet Cecilia, and, we just had a very brief hello, took a picture. That's the infamous picture where I said, like, I was going to put my hand up, the regular fighter pose. She put her fist up and I was going to put my fist up. And I thought, maybe I shouldn't, because if our fists are able to be measured on an image, maybe one day we'll fight, and I just don't want to give any advantage.
Wow.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
And it ended up that they contacted us for sparring. They wanted me to come into her camp for one of her fights, and we denied because, again, we thought, well, we may fight her, so we don't want to give her any edge. And then we were supposed to be her last HBO fight. Okay. And we were in negotiations with that, and Eddie told us, let that offer expire and come do some work with us. And so we did, and it just kept getting closer and closer and closer. So it was almost like we had it in the back of our mind, and we're kind of mentally preparing since 2017.
So you guys both kind of knew that it was going to happen eventually, so you didn't want to show your cards, really.
Yeah, I think with me being the underdog, I am always aiming up. And so I thought it was more realistic probably than she did. I don't know. At the time, she probably just thought, like, this fighter fan wants to take a picture or something. I don't know what she thought. Like I said, we didn't really have much conversation. But, I mean, even during the interviews that we did, the Zoom interviews that we did for the fight and the press conference that we did for the fight, there was very little conversation between the two of us, and just really kind of directing everything towards the reporters. But there was never any bad blood, just two professional fighters wanting to do their best. So, there's never been any issue.
Okay. I mean, we definitely enjoyed the fight. Yeah. So how long have you been boxing, and what got you started on your journey in boxing?
I started in 2008. I just on a whim tried a kickboxing class, and that escalated into me trying boxing because I didn't feel the need to stretch my legs every day and try to keep up. And there just happened to be another coach in the same building that was teaching boxing and had, fighters. And so I wanted to be one of his fighters. So I just wanted to hit each of the kind of like marks as a fighter. So you work out, you build up enough stamina for sparring, and then from there you have your first exhibition bout, and then you have your first real fight. And I just started hitting those notches, and it just kind of exploded so fast. And I've always been very competitive. I've always played sports, never a single player type of sport, and then never a combat sport. So all of that happened in my mid-20s.
Okay.
So what, were you an athlete before you started boxing? Is there any other team sports or individual sports that you played before that?
I was a cheerleader, a pom girl, softball, basketball, just kind of anything I can get my hands on. I grew up with 3 boys, older brothers, and so it was just trying to keep up and compete with them, climbing trees, climbing on the roof of the house. That was very much me.
That sounds like an awesome childhood.
Hey, I appreciate it.
As far as like messing with your brothers, I mean, that's how I grew up.
Exactly. And I have a 10-year-old daughter now, and we literally just finished softball practice.
Yeah, we did.
She does softball in the summer. She does cheer in the winter. So I'm totally on board with all that stuff.
Yep. That was me when I was growing up.
So who are you going to fight next, and when is this?
We're kind of talking about maybe December, maybe beginning of next year. Of course, Cecilia has a rematch clause, and she very much alluded to retirement. And
Oh, wow.
me personally, I mean, you think about all the people who said, I'm going to retire. You have Mayweather, you have Roy Jones, you have Mike Tyson, and all of those guys are back. All of those guys are fighting.
De La Hoya wants to come back too.
See, yeah. And so it's just kind of like, I feel like the fighter in you will never let you quit, and you just really have to make that decision on your own. So she could wake up in 2 weeks and say, I still have a lot of fight left in me, and then want the rematch, and then we'll go at it. Of course, Katie Taylor, she won her fight, so that's also a possibility. People have been wanting to see McCaskill Taylor 2, the rematch, and this whole kind of like 4 female tournament thing that they put on it. It was supposed to be the winner of this and the winner of that, and so by those standards, me and Katie should be fighting again.
So would that be your preferred opponent then?
Yeah, I definitely want to stick with big names and, big type of history, big fights. So Cecilia, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, we talk to her camp pretty often. We're both in agreement that would be a great fight. So those are probably my top 3.
Awesome. One question that's been like running through my mind watching your fight and then learning a little bit more about you is, where did your nickname come from?
CasKILLA?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. When I first started boxing in the amateurs, I had just random, the most people would just like kind of shout out names and stick with it. At one point, people were calling me the Bloody Nose Bandit because all my opponents would be like bloodied. And my friend that I worked with, I'm like mid-20s, so I have like a corporate job, a cubicle. And a friend of mine, she just looked at me and she said, CasKILLA. And I was like, yo, that's dope. Like, it sounds like McCaskill and Godzilla like came together, and I kept it. And it was like nothing else I had heard, which I love because I don't like to be like anybody else. And I just kept it. And it's so funny because we talk like off and on, like every handful of years. We were connected on Facebook for a while, me and this girl, Kate Strabley, and I hadn't heard from her in forever. And she sent me flowers to the gym after I won. And I was just like, oh my gosh, so that was pretty cool. And I always tell people that's the girl that gave me my fight name.
I'm going to tell you what, that name is definitely fitting, and that's a dope name. That is a dope name. All right.
I have to bring it to life. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, you did.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Our second episode that we did, we talked to a wrestler, and he talked about some of the challenges that he had training during the COVID era. What challenges have you personally faced trying to train during this tricky time that we're going through?
I would say none. I mean, I have enjoyed it. I work remotely, so I can log in wherever I please. So I log in at the gym. So I'm usually at the gym, like all day. We go to strength and conditioning around 4:45 in the morning. And then from there, we'll go to our boxing gym at 6. The girls will get a second workout in. I'll log into my computer. And then I can just stay there, go on a run during lunch on the treadmill, come back to my computer. I can handle things at the gym if people are coming in, if deliveries are coming in. Just the lack of commute has really helped out with timing and just keeping things organized and focused. So it's just been really good. And also when we got to Oklahoma, we had to be in a bubble. So we were in the hotel and we couldn't leave. And the first couple of days, we were very much on our own. I couldn't see Rick, and if I was, I could work out by myself. So security escorted me to our workout destination, and I had an hour to myself, and then the hazmat team would come in and they would clean everything for the next fighter. So it almost like prepared me for that. So the only thing I was doing was I had my workouts, I got a lot of sleep, I had a couple Zoom workouts with my strength and conditioning team, a lot of interviews, and that was kind of my day. So it was just easy to do, whereas some people, they were probably going crazy.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you is with all these pro sports, especially hockey and basketball, working out of a bubble, what kind of environment they had you guys in. But it sounds like they're really doing a good job of keeping you guys safe.
Yeah, they had us test before we left. We quarantined for like 48 hours once we got there, and then tested again. And we had like different vans that had like, you know, this person is quarantined, this person is tested, this person's negative. So everybody was very much on the same page. And if that's the length that we have to go through to fight, I'm okay with it. Like, let's everybody be safe and let's get these fights going and, you know, do our job.
Yeah, it sounds like a very thorough process. So, Jessica, there's another thing that I was doing. I was doing some research, and I stumbled upon the YouTube series.
The rabbit hole.
Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole and binge watched the whole YouTube series. How did this come about? What did you feel about being on camera and having, you know, the camera in your, you know, in your eyes, all, you know, in your face all the entire time, and in your business? Tell us about that.
No days off. That was Rick's idea. That was his idea, baby, there. Basically, we were supposed to fight April 17th. And of course, the fight got canceled and like rerouted, but we didn't know when it was going to be changed to. We were all just kind of left, you know, kind of dangling. And he said, well, I want to give the fans something on April 17th. So he said, well, let's do, we had talked about doing like a mini series before, and then I don't know if it was just timing or whatever, and we never did it. So he brought it back to life. So we did No Days Off, and he wanted to show everybody that we were still working and kind of who we were as individuals. And it was just a really good opportunity and platform for the fans to see just kind of behind the scenes, my life. Summerlin, who's also 147 professional, 2-0, and some of the other girls in the gym, and what we do. Like we always talk about how hard we work and about us getting up early or the multiple workouts or us sparring with guys. And so you actually got to see a lot of that. So it was just kind of supposed to be motivational and supposed to be an opportunity for us to relate to the community and just kind of reach out.
So now that you already filmed it, did you rewatch it?
So we would, whenever Rick and our camera guy, Mike Flores, whenever they would get the show together, we would watch it before it aired. And so I got to see it, and I'm used to being in front of the camera by now. I think Rick has had me in front of the camera at least ever since I've turned pro, just to get me used to it. And, you know, I'm a communications major from SIU Eversville. I'm used to talking in front of people. I do a lot of like outreach and things. So I'm used to that, and that's fine. But I really wanted to just be very natural, because I can kind of get into this like answering questions kind of mode and get that, you know, professional voice going or whatever.
Yes.
And I just wanted to like kind of let my guard down and have fun and let people see me be like normal. But so there was a lot of laughter when we got to see the show before everybody else.
So when is season 2 coming out?
I don't know. I think that's a good question. Maybe once we get another fight announcement.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So we do this one thing on TCSF podcast, and it is called Stirring the Pot. We're going to ask you a question that's probably going to piss one of us off. But that's what we do here, and it's a tradition. So because it's called Stirring the Pot, most of the time we talk about food.
Yes, we do.
So this week we're going to talk about chicken wings.
Yes.
Okay.
Chicken wings.
You're a fan of chicken wings? What's that?
I just had some today.
Oh, there you go. So this is the perfect time. So here's the question. Flats or drums?
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
yes.
Girls gotta eat, don't matter.
That's right.
Oh man, it don't matter. All chicken wings are equally the same, huh?
You get created equal.
They're created equal.
As long as they have a bone in them. There's no such thing as boneless wings.
No, the chicken.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would go bone in first.
So what's your favorite sauce to have on a chicken wing?
Growing up, it was always buffalo, and for some reason, in my adulthood, it's barbecue, and I'll do barbecue with ranch or barbecue with blue cheese. I don't know, it's just like a spicy barbecue is my thing. You're making my mouth water.
Well, it looks like we might have to go together to get some wings and put some damage down on some wings.
Right?
Hey, we gotta go find
we got this joint over here called Sneakers. I got like Jack Daniels or Jim Beam.
Oh, wow.
You said whiskey. I'm there.
You guys are trying to get me to go up a weight class.
There we go.
We will help you with that. All right, Jessica, thank you so much for your time. You've been so generous. We look forward to your next fight. When you have your next fight, we need to have you on, though.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we can't wait to watch you fight again. We can't wait to watch you fight again. So we're excited for that. And I just want to say thanks and congrats.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
No, thank you.
All right, take care.
Wow, Eddie, what an interview we just had.
That was fantastic.
Oh my goodness, with Jessica. She was amazing to talk to. Her story is unbelievable, and I'm so happy that she was able to share that with us.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what. Thank you for having lunch today.
Oh yeah, you know,
because I mean, that's how we got her.
Yeah, I went into one of my favorite spots, Output Lounge on Wood and Grand, and I went to go pick up a sandwich because I'm working. I only got about 45-minute lunch. Ordered ahead, went to go pick it up. And I saw her trainer coming out of the washroom. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Just talk to you. And then I turned around. I'm like, oh, wow. Hey, champ. Nice to see you. And, got to talking. And I asked them to be on our podcast. And I'm super, super gracious that they were able to adjust and accommodate us to do it tonight.
It sounds like everything's coming out Millhouse.
Millhouse.
Our house. All right, y'all. Yeah, again, huge thanks to Jessica McCaskill, the new undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Shout out to Ronesh. Shout out to our producer, Jay Soto. Mike Logic and Ideal from the All Net Podcast. Don't forget to catch them every other Monday, opposite of when ours drops. Check us out on social media, our brand new Twitter. You can find us at True Chi Fans. That's True CHI Fans. Don't forget Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and reach out to us on our email at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. And this week, don't forget to check out our overtime segment on YouTube and Instagram. We spoke with Mike Logic from the All Net Podcast about the NBA playoffs and the Bulls head coaching search. All right, y'all, for Big Z, this is E-Rock. And until next time, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
A few moments later.
Lover boy.
A man. That's a full-grown man right there, okay?